All right, hello and welcome to the second shiur with the tripod. It only gets better and better from here. Every day we're advancing technology. I got Shmuel back. He has the coronavirus now. So, no, he doesn't have the coronavirus now, but he's still wearing a mask. And we're doing good. I had a little late shiur today because of the bris of my brother-in-law, Moshe Price, from Beitar. Beitar is actually the only city that's Haredi city that's not a red city. It's an orange city. My other brother-in-law claims, his brother claims it's because they don't do any testing there, and all the Hasidim had the coronavirus already. So that's why it's an orange city. What do you think about that, Shmuel? This is this, and one of my brother-in-laws, you're gonna like this. He has a Tav HaYarok. You know what a Tav HaYarok is?
Yes.
I told him, to get a shot. They're having a booster shot in Israel. Israel's the first country to do it, have a booster shot, the third dose of the Pfizer vaccine. It's being given out in Telson on Monday. I'm gonna get it, me and my wife. And I told my brother-in-law, maybe you want to come to Telstone. He lives in Yerushalayim. Maybe come to Telstone. You can get the booster shot. He says, "What are you talking about? I don't even have any shots. I don't get any of these shots." He doesn't believe in the vaccinations. He's not one of the people who believes in vaccinations. Everyone has their own opinion. Then he shows me as a Tav Yarok. Tav Yarok means a pass to prove that you got you're vaccinated, and it lets you into, restaurants and wedding halls. And he had a Tav Yarok. I said, "How'd you get a Tav Yarok?" He says, "Look at the Tuzat Zehut, the identity number." Not his identity number. He had it on his phone. Apparently, there was someone in his community who gives out Tav Yaroks to random people. Everyone copies his Tav Yarok. This is unbelievable.
So it doesn't mean anything. It's Tav Yarok.
Only in Israel. This is what you have.
But what do people? The guy looks at it and he says, "Okay, what did he do? Nothing."
I went to a restaurant once. They asked me the Tav Yarok. They said, "You have a Tav Yarok?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Okay, go inside." They didn't even ask me to look at it.
Really?
I really had it with me. I did have a Tav Yarok.
They don't want because they want customers. They couldn't.
Well, as long as you go with your mask, you'll be okay.
Okay.
Did you get vaccinated?
I got one.
One vaccine?
I was sick.
You had corona.
I had corona.
Really?
We had the family had corona.
Oh wow. So you got one vaccine?
So you took one vaccine. I don't know if that. I don't know. Do I need another one? I don't know if they let me. Could be have to wait.
Right. That's true. All right. Well,
You took the vaccine.
I took 2 doses. Yeah. I even tested my daughter for antibodies. She has no antibodies.
What is that?
She's 3 years old. What?
She has to.
So that if someone in her class had corona, she wouldn't have to go into quarantine.
Oh, I see. She has to. It's going to be the
Yeah, it's called serology test here, antibody test.
Yes.
We have one of the best mayors in Israel, Ravitz. He's a real professional. He makes sure that Telstone is always up to date with the vaccines and coronavirus checking. He makes sure everyone comes, people from neighboring communities come to Telstone just to get the vaccine, Actually, there's a big fire a couple weeks ago in the area near here, Shorish. About 6 cities were evacuated, 6 villages were evacuated. Where did they go? They went to Telstone. Telstone is the Chesed capital of the world, And Ravitz, the mayor, sent out a WhatsApp that people who have meals should take their own dinners and give them to the other people.
That's right.
They should starve that night.
That's
He said if people have food, they should give it to them. I think it meant they have extra food, or they could cook extra food. I don't think he meant they should take their own dinners and give it to them, but he was looking for people to give them dinners because they were evacuated from their houses and they all went to Telstone. People from the Veilan, the secular communities around there, I think Abu Ghosh, the Arab community, the Arab village near here, they come to Telstone to get the vaccines. He organizes everything under control over here.
We should have a twin city. You know, they have these twin cities. You know what I mean? I wonder if the Toastone is
Well, like
is
Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Oh, they have this
What are you
like,
talking about?
like they have these this world this idea in Israel or that one city makes a connection with a different city in a different country, and they sort of have some sort of you know type of what's the word?
Collaboration.
Collaboration. You know what I mean?
In terms of what are they collaborating with them? Are they having like sports leagues between them?
I don't know what it is, but it's some sort. It's supposed to breed, brotherly. So maybe Toastone could be Twin City with some other.
You know what the name of the baseball team from Minnesota is?
What?
What's it called? They have the Twin Cities,
Oh yeah.
St. Paul and
Oh,
Minneapolis.
those are Twin Cities.
Yeah, they call the Twin Cities. What's the name of the baseball team? What's the name of the baseball team from New York?
New York baseball team.
Come on, you don't know the baseball
No,
team?
I know them. The Dodgers.
You must have been living in the 1960s because you're right. The Dodgers did play in New York in the 1960s. They were actually from which city in New York? Which borough?
You want to know the full name?
What were they called? They were the blank Dodgers, the what Dodgers?
I think we should use such language in shiur.
Only you have these annotations. You believe I'm trying to use curse words over here. No, I'm not using curse words. What was their first name? They were the what city? What borough?
Howard.
Alright, listen. Forget about it.
Harvard.
Forget about it. They're from Brooklyn. Brooklyn Dodgers.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Come on, you knew that. A.B. Rottenberg song, you didn't hear about that?
Oh yeah, Joe DiMaggio.
Not Joe DiMaggio.
He has a song about Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah, the ninth man. Ninth man of the team. That was a different
Joe
song.
DiMaggio. No, Joe DiMaggio.
No, but they would watch the Dodgers, Yankees, and the Mets.
Ah,
right?
yeah, I remember that song.
At the end of the song, they learned Tosos, Rashi, and
The riff.
no, the Mets. They still follow the Mets because a true New York fan likes the Mets. I'm a Mets fan also. They ruined
What
their season recently.
Which Gedolim was Mets fan?
Played on the
Which
Mets?
Gedolim were the Yankee fans? That's a good question.
I actually heard that Rav Scheinberg was actually a Yankees fan.
Oh, really?
Rav Scheinberg. And when someone told him that the Yankees had won the World Series, and he died a couple years ago, but I don't know, maybe in like the early 2000s when they won the World Series, late 90s, and they won a number of World Series.
Yes.
He told him about it. He said he still had a good feeling in his heart. And they told him, and he
I don't believe that. I don't believe-
How do you say creft?
I don't believe that story.
It's a true story. My Rebbe told me. And he said he had a good feeling about it. He said he hasn't followed the team in years.
Yes,
But
how
it
could he
made
say?
him feel good that the Yankees won the World
No, what he
Series.
said, really? Did Babe Ruth hit a, and what did he say? He doesn't know anybody down the team. It's ridiculous.
Not now, but who cares? He still loves the Yankees. He's a Yankees fan. Till the grave. Okay.
Maybe they told him Yankee won. So they said, the Yankee, so they talking about the Yankee. They thought he meant the guy in Yeshiva. Yankee.
He actually said it.
Yanko.
This is not a good joke. I'm gonna say it anyway. He says, "Why does the Gemara start on Daf Beis and on Aleph
Yeah.
to commemorate Derek Jeter, where it was number 2?" He didn't know who Derek Jeter was, but Derek Jeter was number 2,
I hope he wasn't cheater.
leading off for the New York Yankees.
Derek Cheater.
At shows. Derek Jeter, number 2. All right.
Okay, let's go. Let's
Okay, so we're starting at the top of Memteram and Aleph. Rav Yossi, the Yisrael Omer, to conclude this price from last time, he says Afa Soviv. He says even the ledge in the middle of the Mizbeach was something that if you had a psul, you had a crack in it, would make it possible. To add on to the fourth thing, Tanakama said, Amar Rabba Baruchan, Amar Yochanan, Shisim Mishishis made Bereshis Nivru. There were cavities in the world. Apparently, there's a big cavity underneath the area of the Beis Hamikdash. They were created as Shish made Bereshis. Shinemar Chamuki Yerechayich Kmo Chaloim Masei Yedei Omesh. Chamuki Yerechayich. Literally, this pasuk means Chamuki Yerechayich. Your hidden flanks. Your hidden. They say flanks, thighs. Your hidden thighs. Kamo chaloim are like jewels. Maisei the Oman, the handiwork of a craftsman. Chamuki Rechaya, what does that refer to? The Gemara Darsh the Ela Shisin. They're like thighs. They're the cavities of the world are hidden under the Makom HaMikdash, under the Mizbeach. Kamo chaloim. Shemechulal in the Jordan, they have a hole and they go down all the way out of the home until the abyss, the bottom of the world, the center of the earth. Ma'aseh Yedu Uman. Zeh Ma'aseh Yedeim Naso Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the handiwork of Hashem. Hanadver Shmuel Bereshis. Al Tikri Bereshis Ela Borashis. Another way of darshing Bereshis is that he created a shis. Shis is like shisin, like the cavities underneath the Mizbeach. Tanya Rav Yossi Omer Shisin B'Chulol in the Jordan and at home. Shisin had cavities and they go all the way to the abyss of the world, the center of the world. Shema Shira Nal Yedidi Shiras Dodi Lakarmo Kerem Hayal Didi Bekarim Beishema Vayaskeu Vaisakleu Vayiteu Suri Shori Vayiven Migdal Besocha Gam Yekev Chatzavo. So this pasuk means that saying to my beloved one, Shiras Dodi, beloved song, Lakarmo, he's talking about Hashem. Hashem had a vineyard. Bekarim Beisham in a fertile land. V'yazkeu, when you made a fence around it. V'yasakleu, you removed the stones. V'yiteu Sorik, you planted their shoots, young trees. Even Migdal was he built a tower inside of it. V'gam Yekev Chatzavo, he also made a place for a wine vat to collect wine. So like Gemara Darshan is pasuk. V'yiteu Sorik, is that based on Mikdash? Hashem, this is the vineyard was this area of the Mikdash. He planted the shoots. That was the actual base of Mikdash. So even in Migdal, the Sofo, he built a tower inside of it. Mizbeach. That's referring to the Mizbeach Hachitzon. That was the wine vat. They poured wine. We're going to see on the Mizbeach and went down to the Shisin. So that was Yaakov Chatzavo. Tanya Amar Belazar Bar Tzadok Lu Katan Hayab bin Kevesh Mizbeach. There was a small hole between the top of the ramp leading up to the Mizbeach and the actual top of the Mizbeach. Marav Shakevish. It was in the western part of the ramp. Once every 70 years, right? It's going to be this year. This is the year that the Pirchei Kahuna go down. It's a dangerous adventure. It's going to be captured in the Discovery Channel. They're going to have a whole adventure. People put on their goggles and they swim down to the cartels. Because there's a lot of wine there we're going to see. So they swim into the wine. They go all the way to see how far the wine went down.
Wow.
Discovery Channel. Check it out. 9 o'clock Tuesday. Next Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah, a week before Rosh Hashanah. Prepare you.
Nice.
They go down there once every 70 years and they take the congealed wine. I guess it get frozen or congealed. It's like fig cake. So they go and they burn it in kedusha. They burn it in a holy place in Azara. Pasuk says in the Kodesh in Azara hasech he'll pour nesech sheich Hashem, a wine libation to Hashem. Intoxicating wine libation. Just like its pouring was done b'kedusha, so too its burning was done b'kedusha in the Azara. My mash. Where do we know that from? It just says about pouring. Amaravina, ask a kodesh. We learn Gzera Shav a kodesh. Ksiv ha'acha a kodesh hasek nesech. V'chsiv hasam v'sarafte es hanosar ba'esh. Well, yechal kodeshu. It says the word kodesh by nosar. Nosar was burned. Sreifa of nosar. Right, of meat that was left over from an animal beyond the prescribed time for eating the meat. It was burned. It says kodesh over there. So therefore, just like you pour the wine in Kedusha on the Azara, the Mizbeach was in the Azara. So you have to burn this wine that they found after 70 years, you burn it in the Azara. When you start pouring, when you pour them originally, there's Me'ila. Yardila Shisin. Once they go into the Shisin, they go into these cavities in the ground, Ain Molan Bahem. There's no Me'ila. So who is this like? Lema Re'lezer Bar Tzadok must be Re'lezer Bar Tzadok. You're a Bana and have to Lutom. Re'lezer Bar Tzadok holds it doesn't go all the way. There's actually ground under this lul katan, and the wine gets congealed there and stays there. The Rabbanan hold it goes down all the way to the cavity of the world. You can't get there. So I feel the Tim Rabbanan. You can even say the Rabbanan, but the ik that we're talking about, where he put a kli there, he put a vessel there in order to catch the wine. Normally you don't do that, but if you did that, there would be no meila. Vika da amri lamer rabban below Rabbi Tzadok. Alternatively, you can say maybe this price follows the rabban as Rabbi Tzadok. You Rabbi Elazar Akati B'Chastak kind. According to Rabbi Tzadok, it doesn't go to the shisin, right?
Right.
So they go down once every 70 years. So there should be meila. Why isn't there meila? I feel the Tamer Elazar. You can even say it's Rabbi Elazar. And the Chadavar Shnastim it's also mono. Once you do the mitzvah, you do the libations, and it goes down to the ground. Right? So if the mitzvah was done, so there's no more meila. That's a cloud we have by the base of Mikdash. Avodos in the base of Mikdash. Amar Reish Lakish, as much as Nasan Yain Agav Mizbeach, poking as Tashisin. The time when they pour these water libations, these wine libations on the Mizbeach, they would stop up the shisin. They would close them up. We have a little background noise over here. I think someone's making a sukkah over here. They're taking they're demolishing Bnei Yeshivas and making into a big sukkah for some. I would learn like a sukkah, right? Maybe next time we'll take a tour of how you build a sukkah.
Good idea.
They poke in a shisin. They would actually stop the shisin. In order to makayim this pasuk, that in the Kodesh and Azara they poured libation to Hashem. It's my mashma. Where in this pasuk do you see that it's a reference to stopping up the shisin? Amar of Papa Sheichar Lashon Shtia Lashon Sevia Lashon Shichras. It says Sheichar, intoxication. So it sounds also like three words. It sounds like drinking, it sounds like satiation, and it also sounds like intoxication.
That's right.
So therefore, Amar of Papa Shmamina Kisava Eshchamne Migrone Sava. It's the biggest so over here. He says that you learn from here that the word sheichar, intoxication, it can refer to shtia, drinking, and also to svia. Teaches you that these two things are related. That you want to become savea, you want to become satiated from a drink, right? You have to, you get satiated from your throat, right?
And not what? Not from your stomach.
And not from your stomach, right?
By wine?
By drinking.
Interesting. What does that mean? I don't understand it.
It's interesting. So Rashi explains. He says that it's contrast to foods you get. It doesn't matter how quickly or slowly you eat food. It depends how much food you eat. When it comes to drinking, it all depends on how much you drink. If you drink big gulps of something, so it's going to intoxicate you, and it's also going to fill you up. If you drink small gulps, so it's not going to fill you up. It's also not going to intoxicate you.
Interesting.
I'm a Rav, a Surmer Rabban, an official Lechamra, a rabbinical scholar. He doesn't have a lot of wine. Ligama Gemui. And therefore he's very thirsty all the time, right?
Who?
He's a Talmudical scholar.
Why is he thirsty?
He's thirsty, he has no money. So he only has one bottle of wine for a whole year. So what does he do? He only has one bottle of wine. He has one bottle of water and one bottle of wine.
For a whole year?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe. He doesn't have too much. So he doesn't have too many bottles of wine. He used to drink wine. I don't know. Maybe he went to fancy restaurants or something like that. Maybe he went out to eat with his wife on their anniversary.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No. How often do you go out to eat with your wife?
Not too often, that's for sure.
Not too often. He's a rabbinical scholar. Shmuel is a rabbinical scholar. He doesn't go out too often. He goes out once a year on his anniversary. He goes to a fancy restaurant. He doesn't have too much wine. He orders one bottle of wine at the restaurant. So when he drinks the wine, you want to have svia. You want to be satiated from it. So you drink big gulps. Rava Kasa de Brakasa Agama Gabui. Rava, when he had a koshel bracha, he made kiddush, Abdallah, he would actually take big gulps. Imagine it like a wedding, with the berachas erisin and the berachas nisuin, right? The berachas kedushin. You never see the rabbi when he makes the bracha take big gulps.
No.
He does like this trick. I was watching the video of my sister-in-law's wedding. Like he took with his hand a little bit off the top and drank it. Because I think the problem is that you're making the bracha, but you're not drinking. You're making borat be'agafim, but you're not drinking it. So some of them pour a little wine into their fingers. He actually took it off with his hand a little bit. He tipped a little bit into his hand and drank it. It was a clever move. I caught it on video. He couldn't fool me. Anyway, No, so but you never saw a rabbi take a big gulp. You take big gulp. Why don't you take big gulps?
Right.
That's what the Gemara says. Because the berachas, Rabbi, because the chibu of the mitzvah, he wanted to chav the mitzvah. He wanted to show the love for the mitzvah, and he wanted to be satiated from it. He took big gulps. If I was ever Masar Kedushin, I'm telling you right now, you invite me to be in your Masar Kedushin, you pay me enough money, maybe I'll come.
Wow.
What's a fair price to charge me Masar Kedushin?
Mm.
$1,000 for
Oh.
Eretz Israel. I think $1,000. You want me to fly me to America? That's at least $10,000.
Woo.
I think $1,000. You know, as usual, I'll do a flawless job. I'll give a nice speech, some jokes. Listen, I'm an MC, orator, speech writer, and soon to be singer all in one. So I can do everything. I can do the singing. I can be the bands, the one-man bands. I can be the orator, give a nice speech, and I can be the comedian, the MC. That's probably my best job. I can do that all. $1,000 right now. You got it. It's on video.
Okay.
$1,000 in Israel, $10,000
That
in
sounds
America.
like a very fair price.
England will do $8,000. It's a little closer.
Okay, good.
And it's going to be fun because when I do the Birkas Erusin, I'm going to take a big gulp because the Gemara says, "Kaz rochas," you take a big gulp, right? And then I'll give it the chas and kal. All right. So the Gemara says, "Darash Rava, when your children get married, remember me." All right. Darash Rava, ma'idich siv, mayafu pamayich bana'alim bas nediv. How beautiful are your footsteps in shoes, the daughter of a noble person. How beautiful are the steps of Klal Yisrael when they go Aliyah L'Regel, when they go to the Beis Hamikdash. Bas Nediv, the daughter of a noble person. Bitol Shel Amra Avinu. Klal Yisrael is the children of Amra Avinu. Shnikra Nediv, he was called a noble person. Shnemar Nediv Yam Nesafu, the noble people of the nations will gather together. Am Elokei Yisrael, the nation too, they will gather together to the nation of Elokei Avram, the God of Avram. Gemara asks, Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak Yaakov. Hashem was referred to the God of Avram, Yitzchak and Yaakov. Elokei Avram, Sheyatkil Lagerim. It's talking about Kiruv, when they all gathered together. Nidive Amin Nesaf, other nations. So it would be Geras. So who was the first one, Tchil Lagerim? That was Amram Avinu. Tana de Ravana, Ma'idach Siv, Chamuk Yerichayach. Go back to this pasuk we darshan Amid Aleph. Lam Nimshlu Divrei Torah Kiarach. Shmuel, don't fall asleep on me. This is the most interesting shiur I ever see. There's no more interesting shiur than my shiur.
You're right.
I gave an interesting shiur. I saw there was this rabbi who came here to the Bnei Yeshiva yesterday.
Yes.
I don't know. The minute the rabbi got up to speak, people were falling asleep. I mean, it was just, it was.
I was wrong. It was very good.
You heard the shiur yesterday?
No, I was sleeping, but
You were sleeping, right? See, I told you. 1 minute in. Took Shmuel 20 minutes to fall asleep. All right. But anyway, this is the most interesting shiur you're going to find. You're not going to find a more interesting shiur. I guarantee it. Or your money back. Why are Divrei Torah? Here the Torah compares Torah to your thighs. Just like a yerech, a thigh is beseser, it's hidden underneath your clothes, right? Most people don't wear their underwear, right, outside. Av Divrei Torah beseser. So too, Divrei Torah has to be in private. Tell a person what's good. What does Hashem want from him? Ki masos mishpat, to do justice, avas chesed, to love to do chesed, not just doing chesed, but love to do chesed. And to walk privately with Hashem. Asas mishpat, what does that mean? Zadin, you have to have a beis din, you have to judge monetary cases. Avas chesed, zu milos chasadim, versus doing milos chasadim, to pay back people who did you a chesed. That's walk privately with Hashem. Zu atzal samesach nasas akal l'chopa. It's talking about when you go to a levaya or you go to a chuppah, a wedding. So the Bryce, the Gemara asks, it's the Gemara explaining you can make a kal v'chomer out of this. These things which are public events, right? Funerals, weddings, these are public events. Torah says should be private, right? Right, when you dance in front of the chassan and kala, this is this. When you dance in front of the chassan and kala, make sure it's private. Make sure you do it private. You know, make sure it's a unique experience that has never been seen before. I don't think the Gemara means that it has to be private. You have to clear all the people out of the Eon Ben Sion, give the music. Doesn't mean that it has to be private events. Doesn't mean that when you're dancing in front of the Chassan and Kala, you have to clear everybody else. The Gemara in Ksubos. Our school brings this, that there was actually lightheartedness, and there was levity, and there was people used to, there's even a song now, or you do a Bar Yulai, he would dance in front of the Hadas in front of the Chassan and Kala. It doesn't mean you should clear everybody out and people shouldn't see it. Private means that it should be unique. It should be something you can connect with the Chassan and Kala with, a unique dance that you came up with the Chassan and Kala. All right, got that, Shmuel? Unique dance. All right.
Unique dance.
Maybe you do some backflips. All right. You can do it, Shmuel. Things like Torah, which it's not public events. You learn in the base medrash. Not everyone sees it. Lachas kama kama has to be b'seiser. And if we're saying this pshat, Iyun Ben Sion, it doesn't mean Torah has to be private. You don't have to go into a corner into Ezra's Nashim where no one sees you. It doesn't mean that. It means that you have to make a unique connection, a private connection to the Torah, and that means making chidushim in the Torah. A chiddush in the Torah is something private that's unique to you, and that it's incumbent upon everyone to make a chiddush. And it's incumbent, I'm teaching you, Iyun Ben Sion is teaching you to do your own Iyun with fill in the blank, not a curse word, a person's name.
Of course.
All right.
Of course.
Amar Lezer. Gadol said Staka Yoser Mikol Kavanos. The Staka, doing Staka, giving charity is greater than all the Karbanos. Shneimar Asay Staka Mishpa Nivchar L'Shem Yizevach. Doing Staka and Mishpa and justice is better than Hashem from a Korban. Amar Lezer. Gadol Gmilas Chasadim Yoser Min Staka. It's greater to do Gmilas Chasadim, to pay back a chesed that someone did to you, more than giving Staka. Shneimar Zir L'Chem Staka V'Kitzur L'Fi Chesed. It compares Staka to sowing, and Kitzur and Chesed to harvesting. Imadim Zoreya, a person plants seeds, Safik Ochel, Safik and Ochel. He doesn't know if it's going to grow. He might come to eat from it or not. Adam Kotzer, Vada Ochel. If he's harvesting plants or fruits, he's for sure going to eat. Amar Lazar, Aim Staka Mishtalem is Elefi Chesed Shabbat. The total quality of its Staka is only the actual Chesed, the forethought you put into the actual Staka. I mean, you have to do it in private, and you have to do it in a way where that person should be embarrassed. Now, when you give tzedakah, you should do it in a way of chesed, a nice way that the person should be able to not be embarrassed. 3 ways Gemilas Chasadim is greater than tzedakah. Tzedakah only applies to your money. Gemilas Chasadim, bein begufo, bein mono. Gemilas Chasadim apply. You can even do it with a physical act. Tzedakah is only for poor people. You're supposed to pay back a favor even to an usher, a rich person. Tzedakah is only to living people. You can even give to dead people. Someone did a favor for you to go to his levaya. Any of those tzedakah mishpat, like he filled the world with chesed. Never always tzedakah mishpat chesed Hashem mala haaretz. He fills the world with chesed. Shema Tomer kol abal likvotz kofetz. Maybe you'll tell me anyone who wants to give tzedakah, right? He does tzedakah. He'll find the right people to give it to. He'll give it to trustworthy people. A lot of times people, ask for tzedakah and they really don't need the money. It's very precious. It's hard to do it the right way. Maybe you'll tell me Yarei Shemayim also is going to have a problem giving to the right people. Hashem gives special divine assistance to Yarei Hashem in order to do stuff in the right way. Anyone who has grace, he's Yarei Shemayim. Chesed Hashem Olam Ba'olam Al Yareyav. The Chesed Hashem, which refers to grace, is on his people that fear him. Amar Lezer, my dechsiv, Pia Poscha B'chachma V'Torah's Chesed Al Lashona. Her mouth, a woman, was open with Chachma, and Torah's Chesed Al Lashona. V'chiyish Torah Shal Chesed, V'yish Torah She'en Shal Chesed. Is there a Torah that's Chesed and Torah that's not a Chesed? El Torah Lishma, Zui Torah Shal Chesed. If you learn Torah Lishma, you're doing a Chesed. You're doing Chesed. You're doing an act of Chesed. Shalol Lishma, Zui Torah She'en Shal Chesed. If you're doing it Shalol Lishma, it's not Shal Chesed. Ikad Amri Torah L'Lamda, Zui Torah Shal Chesed. If you're learning Torah in order to teach to other people, that's Torah Shal Chesed. Shalol L'Lamda, Zui Torah She'en Shal Chesed. If you're just doing it to learn, without any intention to teach other people, right? So it's Torah Shel Chesed. I'm teaching other people. My Torah is Torah Shel Chesed. I'm doing Chesed with you. Wake up for my shiur.
I will. Yes.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Oh, that's it?